Tatung cleaning service. This thing is filthy. This is the Tatung 6-inch desk fan. I don't know what the model number is. The manufacturing number is 3AI, I hate AI, 0025, number 904-01565, made in Taiwan. Distributed by Tatung of America Incorporated. This is probably a 90s model. It's got a very I can't tell if it's just very, very yellowed or if it's like a light pink in color. It's okay, but it definitely needs to be cleaned. So let's see what we can do here. First, let's see how it runs. Oh, that was really sticky, that tape. I don't know why I left it on there for so long. Wow, that was super sticky. All like sticky residue everywhere now. The low. Huh, I can't believe there's no bearing rattle. The high. You know what? This thing is in almost perfect balance. That's probably why the bearings have lasted as long as they have. Now, this thing's got a lot of hours on it. It's kind of uncommon for these to last long enough for this to start plugging up in the middle, at least in this size. Alright, well, let's get started here. Looks like it's going to come off from the bottom. Far from the worst I've seen, but it's pretty bad. It's all blocked up where the handle is. This is so dusty, I think it was cleaned at one point. Wow. Quite a long screw. Oh, wow. Ain't that something? That's pretty stuffed. And that just came right out of the switch. It's quite warm down here. I think I'm going to open the windows and turn on that fan for a minute. This window is busted, or not the window, the handle is busted. It's kind of a pain in the neck. slack with the new arrangement. That stinks. That really stinks. This is a really powerful fan. Also, it's a Tatung. Alright, now that we have a nice refreshing breeze in the studio, let's carry on. Jeez, even the screws are filthy. Everything is caked with dust inside there. It's impressive that this is still running as well as it is. Plenty of hair around the shaft. There's very little play in the bearings. Still in pretty good shape. That's surprising. Starting to get a little stiff, definitely dry though. I can't believe this is still working after all these hours. That's crazy. It's coming off real easy. This must just be basic office dust or wherever this was used, not in a kitchen or anything like that. Definitely not in a smoking household. Comment keeps coming out of the switch. These are very cheap switches. Everything's pretty poorly made on here. Alright, we're going to pull the cord through most of the way. It's so stubborn. I'm going to wash this in the sink, and we can just keep the motor and the switch well away from the water. This makes it easier to clean it that way. What that is, I don't think so that has anything to do with the fan, although it looks like it's been in there for quite some time. Okay, I'm ready to go over to the cleanup area. Here we are at the cleanup area. Let's get some lights turned on. I think there was a second brush over here, but it fell, so we'll use this one. I gotta remember to retrieve that. Motor, we'll just take and sit up here, away from the water, and we can begin to clean everything else with wetness. Use this today. This soap works very well. There's some marks on this side which are not going to easily come off. Might be able to get that off with one of those magical eraser things, perhaps. Like from what scratches. Otherwise, it's cleaning up pretty nice. Now this is where I wish we had a working dishwasher down here, because I would put this in there. Cleaning these plastic guards is such a pain in the neck. Okay, we're done at the cleaning area. That's great. Cleaned it pretty good. That sticky stuff I can't get off. I think the plastic has like started to deteriorate and it like just became part of the plastic. I don't know. I can try some Goo Gone or Goof Off, whatever the less powerful one is later. You can see here the plastic is definitely discolored. I can see the sun breakdown kind of pattern appearing in it. So this probably is not the original color, but that is what it is. It seems pretty sturdy still. So now we gotta go take a look at the motor. Not much to do on the motor because it's still running just fine. We'll go through and add some oil to the wicks, and that's it. There's nothing else to do. Now we need to get this to run so we can clean the shaft. So we need those stupid wires to not come out of there. So we're going to turn the motor on now, and we're going to put just a little bit of oil on the sticker towel here, and we're going to clean all that, whatever that is, off the shaft so that we can slide the bearing off the front. Might have to sand it. These motors have like no torque to them whatsoever. No, actually I think I'll be okay. I don't think that one needs to sand it. Oh, that rust is coming off of there now. Still feels very rough to me. I think we're going to have to sand it. Yeah, some rust remains. Yeah, we're going to have to sand it. We got to get that rust off of the shaft. Do I have some sandpaper nearby? That's the next question. And I think that the answer is going to be no. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and go look for some sanding paper. I got some sanding paper. Is that on low or on high? I don't even know. That's low. That's high. You get a nice clean surface on the shaft so that when we slide the bearing off, it doesn't get damaged. That should be enough. So this can be somewhat of a delicate procedure. These things are very, very tight on there, and we have to just gently get these off. Okay, so we've already lost one part of it. So this metal is very, very soft. As you can see, this just broke from the very small amount of force I was applying with the screwdriver. Well, we've got two options at this point. We can leave it alone and just put oil in like manually, not the way that you're supposed to do it, and get a perfectly good working fan that needs to be oiled every couple months or so. Or we can risk taking it apart even further, most likely break the bearing holder, and then it just becomes a pile of scrap parts. Since this, I really don't think it needs to be cleaned, we're going to go with option A, and we're just going to add some oil. Let's put some into the shaft here, and I suspect this will start to free right up. Not that it's that stiff anyways. Yeah, that's a very soft and cheap, like pot metal. I'm not playing with that. That's unfortunate, but sometimes you do run into that. I find that's often the case with a lot of the, maybe not a lot of, but I've had that happen on some Duracraft window table fans, even the older ones from the 90s. Some of the motors have become like this. You got to remember, these fans are 30, 40 years old now, and they were never intended to run this long. They were built with very cheap components, And here these things are decades later, and they're still working pretty good. Alright, so we're going to switch over to zooming spout because the container will let us do what we need to do here. Let's see if we can get onto the inside of the motor like this. Get some oil on the inside. Yeah, the spout will get us right where we need to go. It's one of the reasons why I like this oil so much, is the spout is like amazing when it comes to reaching different angles and things. Yeah, see it's starting to free up now? We'll get away with doing it like this. This is not as thorough as I prefer to be, but it'll leave us with a non-broken piece of equipment, which is important. Because if you do a thorough job and you break the equipment, well then the job is pointless. What we're not doing is we're not filling the wicks in there with oil, which would release the oil slowly over time as needed. This is kind of a quick fix, but it's short-term lubrication. I just don't want to risk breaking the motor trying to take it apart, so I'm not going to. I have a number of other videos that show the full process of dismantling the motor for thorough lubrication, if you're interested in seeing that procedure. But this time I'm going to cut off here. That's running super free. I'm going to call it good. The service point, the next service interval, might be sooner than it could be because of the fact that we didn't get into the oil wicks to add some additional lubrication. Yeah. This next service interval will be sooner because we didn't fill the oil wicks, which would release oil slowly over time as needed. So that aspect of the lubrication system on this motor is not working because it's empty, but it's not broken, so that's important. You have to know the boundaries of the material when you're working on old stuff like this, because the boundaries have changed from when it was new, and boundaries often are not ideal and don't necessarily allow for what is ideal. That's kind of cheesy. It doesn't have anything that the motor will sit on that holds it in place while we screw it in. A lot of times there's like tabs that the bottom hole will slip onto for alignment purposes, and you get the screw in the right spot, but this does not have that. Yeah, I'd say we're pretty solid with the bearings, even though we couldn't get full lubrication. Alright, now we have to determine which side is high and which side is low, because I don't think so that the switch... No, I had it on high, so we know that it goes like this. Wow, this is really not correct. This just doesn't seem like it's... There we go. Now it's correct. Alright, so it's looking a lot better now. I bet it's going to move way more air too. Oh yeah, much more airflow. It's running much better now. Running faster too, I think. It feels a little out of balance now, I guess because it was running slower, I didn't notice it. But it's still not bad. Some of these shake all over the place. This one's pretty reasonable. Moves decent air for what it is. The blade's hub is totally mismolded. Look at this. That is abysmal. It's not focusing on what I wanted to focus on. Is it just not going to focus? There we go. It's out of focus again. I want to show this camera. This is a matter of what I want to show, not what you want to show. Get your own channel. That is abysmal how out of alignment that is. I don't understand why we can't make decent plastic molded blades. Even to this day, they're still not right. You find fans with that, you know, this thing all off centered, whatever, all the time. Oh well, this is ready to go for what's left of the summer. Should have a couple weeks left where we can use this, and then of course it's ready for next year as well. Although it's possible that we might have to oil it again next year, because as the oil sits over the winter, it just like evaporates or whatever the heck it does, and it's gone.